Have you ever felt weird because you just don't want to be around people? Have you ever pretended to be interested in a shallow conversation when all you really wanted was silence? You may have asked yourself, is there something wrong with me for preferring my own company? If this doubt haunts you, Schopenhauer has something to tell you, and it may be the liberation you never knew you needed. Arthur Schopenhauer, a 19th century German philosopher, was one of the first thinkers to treat loneliness not as a problem, but as a symptom of a mind that sees deeper. For him, avoiding social life is not a sign of pathological isolation. It is often the self-preservation instinct of someone who feels too much, thinks too much, and sees beyond the surface. And that changes everything. Because while the world pushes you to fit in, socialize, smile, and adapt, Schopenhauer whispers an uncomfortable yet liberating truth. Loneliness is the fate of all exceptional spirits. Yes, and maybe you are among them. In this video, we'll dive deep into this revelation together. Why do intelligent, sensitive, and deeply conscious people withdraw from social life? But more than understanding the why, you will discover how this can be the beginning of a new phase in your life, a phase of emotional freedom, self-respect, and inner peace. Here we are not going to romanticize isolation, nor demonize human interaction. Let's talk about something more real, the tiredness of maintaining connections that do not nourish, of dialogues that do not say anything, of forced smiles that hurt inside. Let's talk about the courage to withdraw, to be alone, but whole. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. This video could be a turning point in your self-discovery process, and you won't want to miss the next ones that will delve even deeper into this path. Take a deep breath. You are exactly where you need to be. Let's get started. Chapter 1. The superficiality that suffocates. It's not that smart people hate people. It's just that they can't stand wasting their lives on empty dialogues. Schopenhauer said that the more intelligent a man is, the less company he desires. Not out of arrogance, but out of saturation. Noise saturation. Social interactions that seem more like poorly rehearsed theater than a real encounter. Deeply conscious people can't stand the lightness of words that say nothing. They need substance, and everyday life rarely offers that. Have you ever been in a conversation circle looking around wondering, what am I doing here? It's like being stuck in a loop of automatic phrases, recycled opinions, soulless laughter. These situations are not just boring. To a sensitive mind, they are exhausting. It is like trying to breathe in an environment where oxygen is banality. Carl Jung observed that loneliness is not the absence of people. It is the inability to communicate with them about what really matters. And that is exactly what suffocates. Not being alone, but being among many, and still feeling invisible. An intelligent person does not distance himself because he despises others. He distances himself because he needs to preserve his emotional energy. He needs silence to think. He needs space to feel. He needs depth to live. And when that is lacking, superficiality becomes a slow poison. And if you feel this way, know this. You are not antisocial. You are selective. You feel that there is something wrong with losing yourself in interactions that do not add up. And you are right. If this makes sense to you so far, click like. Not because of an algorithm, but because it helps this content reach other people who also feel suffocated in a world of shallow conversations and empty presences. You are not alone in this. Chapter 2. The silence that heals the mind. There is a kind of peace that only those who have distanced themselves from the noise of the world know. It is in silence, that deep, almost sacred silence, that the mind begins to reorganize itself. For Schopenhauer, solitude was not a punishment but a privilege. He believed that the higher mind, when constantly exposed to external noise, becomes dull. Only when immersed in silence does it flourish. It is in silence that thought deepens. It is in silence that intuition speaks. It is in silence that truth appears. Intelligent people don't shy away from social life because they feel superior. They shy away because they feel more. They absorb the environment, perceive nuances, see through social games, pick up on hidden intentions, and that gets tiring. While many are distracted, they are overwhelmed. Nietzsche wrote that great intellects are always seeking solitude as a refuge from banality and the crowd. And this search is not easy, because we live in a society that idolizes noise, that measures value by visibility, that calls the act of retreat a failure. But what is braver? To go with the flow and get lost, or to stop, be silent and find yourself? In silence we find our voice again. The mind starts breathing again. Ideas are organized. The soul calms down. It is in this space that the greatest personal revelations are born, where anxiety loses strength, where fear fades, where chaos becomes clarity. And that's why many intelligent people learn sooner or later to isolate themselves, not out of misanthropy, but out of self-care. Now tell me honestly in the comments, do you feel more like yourself when you are alone? Does silence heal you or scare you? Write it down, share it. Someone might read it and feel a little less lost, knowing that you feel the same way. Chapter 3. The price of authenticity. Being truthful has a cost, and those who are too smart to be fooled pay dearly, because the more you know yourself, the harder it is to pretend. The deeper your gaze, the more you see the emptiness in forced smiles, in convenient conversations, in hugs that hide masks, and it hurts. The authentic person feels that there is something deeply wrong with fitting into environments that require them to disintegrate. They no longer know how to smile out of politeness, nor agree out of diplomacy. Silence becomes a refuge, because telling the truth would often be too destructive, and keeping quiet hurts less than pretending. Schopenhauer did not see social life as essential to happiness. For him, being among people constantly required the sacrifice of individuality. And the more lucid someone is, the less they tolerate this sacrifice. Being authentic in today's world is almost an act of rebellion, and there is no rebellion without solitude. Because those who refuse to wear social masks inevitably find themselves excluded from the stages where everyone applauds the false. And that is the unwanted but necessary loneliness. Carl Rogers, a humanistic psychologist, said that the curious paradox is that when I accept myself as I am, then I can change. But most people are not ready for this. Most people still live their lives molding themselves to what others expect. And when someone refuses to participate in this theater, they are called strange, closed off, difficult. But what if it's not hardship? What if it's just integrity? The truth is that many intelligent people are exhausted from disconnecting from themselves in order to belong. So they prefer not to belong anywhere. It's painful, but it's real. And deep down, it's liberating. Chapter 4. Loneliness as a silent revolution. There is a kind of revolution that doesn't shout. She doesn't raise flags. She doesn't appear on social media. She doesn't need applause. This revolution begins the moment someone chooses to step away so as not to get lost. Schopenhauer saw solitude not as isolation but as a heightened form of resistance. Resistance against mediocrity, against the emptiness of automatic relationships, against the pressure to be who others expect, instead of who one really is. Being alone, in this context, is a silent cry for freedom. It is a silent message to the world. I will not participate in that which nullifies me, and that takes strength. Because everything around us screams the opposite. Be online, be available, be visible. But the wise mind chooses the invisible, the withdrawn, the profound. It knows that some phases of life are not for showing off, they are for evolving. Imagine a tree during winter. From the outside, it looks dead, but inside, it is quietly alive, growing, stronger, preparing itself, taking root deeper. Loneliness works the same way. It forces you to face your shadows, to listen to your truest thoughts, to rebuild your self-esteem without needing validation from others. It's painful, but it's transformative. And when you come back from that place, you come back different, more centered, more serene, more whole, because you learn to live with yourself. And those who achieve this no longer accept any presence just to fill the void. If this silent revolution has already begun inside you, click the like button now. It's not about numbers. It's about recognizing that this video is touching on something you already know, but maybe haven't had the courage to admit yet. You are not strange. You are awakening. Being alone was never being empty. Being alone is not the same as being lost. Contrary to what many believe, solitude can be the most fertile soil for a soul to grow. There, far from the noise, far from expectations, far from the constant need to please, you finally find yourself, And if this encounter is frightening, it is because it reveals truths that the crowd insists on hiding. The truth that you don't have to be accepted by everyone. The truth that not all presence is company. The truth that silence can say more than 1,000 words. Schopenhauer, Jung, Nietzsche, they all agreed on one thing. There are times when you have to step away from the world to finally live for real. And if you feel like you're at that point today, don't fight it. Accept it. Embrace this call to lucid solitude, not as an end, but as a new beginning, as a sanctuary where your mind can rest, your heart can heal, and your soul can flourish. Being alone has never been about being empty. Sometimes it's the opposite. It's about being so full of yourself that the world outside no longer fits. If this video touched you, if something inside you was seen, welcomed, and understood here, subscribe to the channel now. This is a safe haven for those who think too much, feel too much, and don't fit into the superficial. You are not alone. You are in good company.